You love kids, we love kids, we love families, and so do you. And we know we can make the lives of children with clefts and other facial problems much better by the care and service we give them. It started back then, and it was at a time when not much was done about cleft.
In the past, they had this various stigma associated with it, and in many cases it lasted their entire life.
Those of us who are older remember the kids in school who had bad cleft, and we look back on it and realize how much was wrong in their childhood, that they couldn't feel completely accepted many times by everyone else.
Cleft palate teams have been in existence since 1943, and it started in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. The work that was done at the time was very rudimentary, both surgically and primarily dental in origin.
A lot of kids weren't surviving, and a lot of kids wound up with developmental problems, speech problems, facial problems.
The cleft palate team at St. John's started in 1964 with the person of Dr. Elise Hahn, who was a professor of speech at UCLA at the time. And when I became the chief of pediatrics, I became a part of that team, and it was known as the cleft palate team.
The cleft lip and palate patients, however, are your patients from birth, literally. I see them the first time in the newborn nursery. I get to know them and their parents from the first day.
Over time, it's very rewarding. I now have some of the original cleft palate patients who are bringing their own children in to see me.
When a family has a baby with a cleft lip and palate, it's often devastating for them, and our job is to let them know that we're going to take care of the child.
Because it's such a shock to have a child that you didn't expect, and to get them information as soon as possible, that's really important.
Dr. Holvey was the mainstay of our cleft palate team.
Really started the team 50 years ago. He was the medical director and pediatrician.
What we do is to fragment the child to each of who examined the child, and then we sit down together at a team meeting once a month and, in a sense, really put the child back together.
Years back, when I first met Dr. Holvey, I was very impressed by his ability to bring people together, to have a coordinated effort to treat patients. And I think Dr. Salmonson carried that tradition on very, very well.
Dr. Janet Salmonson was a wonderful plastic surgeon and human being.
Janet was a special person. She became a truly dedicated plastic surgeon to the cleft palate team at St. John's and to cleft palate care internationally. She truly loved her patients. She really worked with them in every aspect of their life.
It was really her introduction to a lifelong commitment of taking care of kids from birth that inspired me to seek out a career in taking care of kids with clefts. At the time, and I received a call informing me that Dr. Salmonson was sick and that she had asked if I would take care of her kids here in the Cleft Palate program at St. John's. And of course, that was a very huge honor for me to accept that responsibility, but it was also very saddening at the time.
Okay, and Mr. Light, you get to shine a light on your teeth. Okay, go.
I think what makes our team special here at St. John's is the individualized care that we give to each patient.
We're small, we've all been here a long time, kind of a family.
St. John's has got a fabulous cleft palate craniofacial team, and it really, really is super. They're kind with the kids. They have the most expert care in the world.
In caring for a kid with cleft, and there's a whole section in
the people on the team are very comfortable having done work with these kids before or other kids like this before, so that they transmit that confidence to the patients, and they feel good about it, and they want to come back and be treated here.
The patients that we care for, they really are truly humbling. They are a phenomenal subset of patients that allows us as the team of clinicians to really provide services to patients that are needy.
I think it's special because of the close relationship between the patients and the team. And by the team, I mean not just the doctors, but also the nurses, the speech therapists, the pediatricians, the social workers, the dentists.
We focus on giving personalized care.
Our team functions a little bit differently than most teams, taking into consideration the family's needs and the child's needs.
One of the remarkable things about this program is we want to keep the heartbeat, the real spirit of this program, and that is a community-based program that really provides personalized care. We're drawing world-class providers and researchers from major institutions in the area, and this is certainly a venue that offers a very personalized type of care for these children. The advantage is that we get the best of the best, and they're all here taking care of our kids here at St. John's.
The treatment has changed.
We're approaching the surgical management in a more minimally invasive techniques.
The surgical treatment, I think, is probably even more dramatic than the other areas, but the dental treatment has dramatically improved down. Because if I were just operating on my own, I wouldn't really have that input from the dental specialist saying, no, we can't go ahead with that step until we do this.
I'll tell you who really supports us. Native Sons of the Golden West. When I came out here 27 years ago, Marie Madeline said, Maureen, there's a very special group I want you to meet.
The Native Sons of the Golden West wanted to develop a hospital in the local area that represented them from the southern part of the state. I was invited by the Altadena Parlor for a spaghetti dinner to give a talk on the care of cleft palate children.
I thought of cowboys, arriving on horseback, and instead a lot of really nice, kind of everyday people came. And I loved them the minute I met them.
The Native Sons have actually been the rock of cleft palate.
The Native Sons have been a uniquely huge part of what we do here. They've been a pillar of support behind us for the longest time.
That have donated to our team for 40 some odd years.
We feel really blessed that we have the support of the Native Sons.
It really helps the team. It really helps the patients, the family, when there are support groups that go out of their way to help kids like this.
And we've used some of their money to help the kids that kind of fall through the cracks. Their insurance won't pay for it, the lines are too long, the schools can't quite give them the individualized care that they really need at a very critical part of their lives.
We've had the Native Sons of the Golden West supporting us almost since the inception of this program, almost 50 years. That has really allowed us to take care of all of these children in the way that we do.
We are a better team because of their support, and we hope that this will be a continued involvement for many years to come in the future.
Bob was an exploding firecracker. He came and the crowd became joyous just at the sight of him. He was always happy, determined to help the children, and just a big, glorious kind of 4th of July celebration. Janet Thelmanson was a brilliant plastic surgeon. She was like a quiet candle in a holy place. She was constant in her devotion and in her love for the children, and constantly looking for ways to improve her surgical skills and do what she could to make life better for them. And this year we lost Colin Campbell. You know, we never really lose them completely. So while Colin and Bob and Dr. Janet are gone, their spirit is still with us. And that's what keeps this cleft palate program working so well. It's a spirit that was started here many years ago by Dr. Holvey and the Native Sons.
for me is kind of like magic. You get an idea, there's an adventure, and people can read it and they go on the adventure themselves.
Kara was born in an ambulance on the way to Sutter, born with a cleft palate. She wouldn't get enough air through her nose, and so she would wake up and she would be terrified. I would just open her mouth so she would, because I could hear her struggling to breathe. But it was years. We just didn't sleep. And for Kara, as a small infant, I couldn't communicate with her that she was going to be okay.
Normally the palate starts out as 2 shelves on either side of the mouth, and then they grow together and fuse in the midline. When that fusion doesn't happen properly, you end up with a cleft palate.
There's like a hole right here and a hole right here. If I ate, I would choke. That was really hard.
Kara's story is a great example of what the craniofacial panel can do for these children. We are a team of physicians, dentists, social workers, and any other discipline that is required to plan and treat these children.
We have 13 children. We're a really busy family, so being able to go to the craniofacial panel and see all of the doctors and specialists at one time is really helpful to us.
And I see all of these doctors that I've known for like my whole life.
And you've got your picture?
It makes me feel like I have a lot of people looking out for me.
They really do help anyone, regardless of their ability to pay.
As with any program, there's limited funds to take care of these patients. So the Native Sons over the years have been absolutely terrific in providing lots of funds for extra care and extra equipment.
We partnered here with Sutter in 1992, and since that time we have donated over $650,000. Makes us feel very proud of the work we have done to help these children.
Our hope is that other organizations will join in the effort that the Native Sons have done and partnered with Sutter Health. Just think about how wonderful this world would be if everybody contributed.
We really didn't know when Kara was an infant what her future would hold. And she said this year, I just get to go to high school and be a regular kid. And it's the first time in her life she has felt like her cleft palate didn't define who she was. She is not a cleft palate, she's Kara.
If I were to write my own story, it would begin as a little baby who could hardly breathe and hardly eat. And it'll end with a strong woman who has gone through this adventure and is made stronger by it. To the Native Son and everybody at Sutter Health, I feel so thankful that you have helped me along the way.